Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone, ever. Now, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. Okay, I get it. 7 brain surgeries in, man. I get it. Life can be tough sometimes. It's a given. Thing is, we also know that there's always hope. Always. So that's where we choose to operate. We like to live in the land of hope. So around here in my family and on our show, we like to operate where there's hope. So if it's been a minute for you, join us. Come along. Hope's a good thing. So I want to talk about a couple things before we bring our guest on today. And two things. One is our nonprofit. The nonprofit arm of the show is called Hydro with Hope. And that organization exists solely to help families that are dealing with the craziness of a condition called hydrocephalus, which is what I was born with, which is what has resulted in those 7 brain surgeries and 15 surgeries overall. It's been a crazy, wild ride. And as such, we want to help other families that are dealing with that. And so our vision has grown larger than our funding. So we are expanding our board and we are expanding everything. And so if you know somebody that might want to be part of that, I would love to hear from you. Please email me at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com. If you want to donate, hydrowithhope.com is the name of the website. I would thank you in advance for anybody that would like to do that to help us further this mission. And we have a resource that we, in fact, I'll show you right now. There it is. It's a journal that we created specifically for people with hydrocephalus because it's brain surgery every time you have to be treated. And brain surgery can be rough, and it can be really rough on your memory. And so we created that journal so you can write everything down. You don't have to remember everything. It's a beautiful thing. So if anybody would like to be a part of what we're doing through Hydro with Hope to help those families, shoot me an email or donate at hydrowithhope.com. Now, we are also looking for advertisers and sponsors for the show because, as you know, TV doesn't go anywhere without those commercials, without those sponsors. And so if you know of anybody that would like to come on board with us in that respect, man, would I love to talk to you as well. So email us at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com, and I will send you a link and get you on the calendar, and we'll have a chat. I would love to talk to you about that. So, all right, that is enough of that. Let's get our guest on here and get this show on the road here. So, basically, our guest today his name's Anthony, and he has lived through what most of us probably couldn't imagine. Surviving not one, but 2 abortion attempts, enduring a violent attack as a child, and facing years of abuse in his own home. Which, I mean, come on. That alone is like, okay, let's get this guy on here. Let's meet him. Who is this guy? By high school, he was homeless and addicted to drugs, but everything changed on his 20th birthday when God showed up and showed him he was real. And he is. By the way, if you're not sure, God's real. Okay. I know it too. You can too. Today, Anthony is a man on a mission, fighting human trafficking through his organization, Fight Coffee, which you can see here. There's 3 varieties there. I've got another one here. We're going to be talking a little bit of coffee today. Fight Coffee gives 100% of its profits to the cause and dedicating his life to making disciples who make disciples, which is awesome. So his story is one of unimaginable pain transformed into unstoppable purpose. I love this guy. I can't wait for you to meet him. Let's bring him on and get this show on the road here. Anthony, Thank you so much for being here, man. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. I really genuinely appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And by the way, I'm going to just throw this out here, get this out of the way. If anybody is watching here, and I mean, when we talk about, we're starting to talking about abuse and human trafficking and all this stuff, like that can be really, really sensitive for some people out there. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if it's like, oh my gosh, I think we need to have a conversation, Anthony. Just throw a comment in on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, depending on where you're watching, or if you're on E360 or Apple TV or Roku or wherever you are. If you can comment. If not, this is the website for Fight Coffee, and you can contact him that way. Is that is there an easy place for people to do that?
Yeah, it's very easy. Just hit the contact button and tab, and you'll be in.
Perfect. All right. So no excuses. If you want to talk to Anthony, you can do it. You can talk to him. We'll get you in touch. So, man, I got a question for you that I like to ask everybody at the beginning of the show, just to kick things off. Everybody with an invisible condition has had it rough at one point or another. I mean, maybe it's better now. Maybe it's ebbed and flowed, and it's been better. It's been worse. On those worst days, how do you still maintain hope?
I mean, my faith in God, period. I mean, I remember it was a few years ago now. I was, saying a prayer, and I was like, God, I feel like I'm out in a rainstorm. It's windy, it's cold. I don't have a rain jacket on. I'm just shivering, and I'm just struggling out here. And I just gently heard this, not audibly, but it was like, what are you doing out there? It's like, I'm a shelter, but you're standing out there, and you're not coming into me. I am your shelter, and and you're not talking to yourself, because I would never say that to myself. You know what I mean? I was like,
right.
Wow, that's so yeah, wow. I guess I am doing that, aren't I? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and it's sometimes it's a battle to fight your way to get into that shelter. It's not like, oh, I'm feeling horrible, and then snap your fingers and you're in the shelter. And then I think sometimes it's like, there's degrees of the shelter, if you will. It's like, okay, right. Things are, you're on the outskirts of the shelter, or how far can you get into the shelter? So there's degrees, but there is a peace, there is a joy, there is a grace, there is healing, there is, there's comfort, as the Bible says, in His presence. So that's what keeps me going. I'm drug free. I'm, so I don't do any drugs or anything, or alcohol or anything to, no prescription, not against prescription medication. I'm actually going to be talking to a doctor about ketamine.
Sure.
Not opposed to that, but that's what helps me.
Awesome. I love it. That's beautiful. I always love hearing the answer to that question, because it's always awesome, and there's no wrong answer. So yeah, I love it. Thank you for that, man. That's beautiful. So I mean, obviously from your intro, I mean, it's a doozy, man. You've been through a lot of traumas.
Yeah.
Starting before you were even born,
right.
And you weren't even here yet, and you were forced through some of that. So, can you share a little bit about those early survival stories?
Yeah, I mean, when you're younger, it's amazing the coping skills that you develop. Unfortunately, those coping skills, as you get older, become problematic. But I moved every year of my life, and to be honest with you, there wasn't really like you have to live in it. You have to live through it. I don't know how I survived, other than the grace of God. And of course, I always kid around and I say drugs and alcohol saved my life, because I mean, if I couldn't have numbed myself, I don't know how I would have survived. I would have probably gone, I know I wouldn't be here. I was already, on a path of self-destruction. So, I mean, by the time I was before I graduated high school, I was homeless and drug addicted. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take a long time for it to really catch up to me and really bring me to, what the depths of despair, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I survived it, just by the grace of God, I would say.
Sometimes that's enough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's a good story by itself. So, yeah. Well, growing up in a home like that, and I mean, by high school, you'd kind of spiraled all over the place, and drugs and alcohol and all the things. Like, what did a typical day look like for you in that craziness?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to go to jail, so
No.
I did work. So basically, my life just looked like I was a cook. I mean, sometimes I didn't work, and it really depended. If I found a friend, and then I'd stay with them for a while, and then generally the parents would find out where I was at, and I kind of had that. I had like a wolf in sheep's clothing type of, a nice face. I didn't look hardened or evil, but I was in the darkness, right? And so when parents found out, they'd throw me out. And then I would sleep in laundry rooms, staircases. I would crash parties. Friends would hide me. I had one friend, Jeff, used to hide me in his brother's room because he was in college.
Yeah.
And so when you open the door to the bedroom, you'd see the bed, and there was a little gap between the bed and the window. And I would sleep on the other side of that. And his father, even if he opened the door, he wouldn't see me, and he had no cause to go back there. So, stuff like that, I would hide. Wow. I would stay with all kinds of people. Some people were decent. Some people were, this one woman, she would always go up, not always, but she would sometimes go upstairs threatening to kill herself. And now I'm here high as a kite in her house, and she's talking about killing herself. I'm like, what's going on here? So, you have stuff like that. A typical day, I mean, it's just working, doing drugs. That's it. Working and doing drugs. Of course, you can get, into fights, or you're, just craziness. It's just a lot of craziness, but mostly just getting high and trying to escape,
Yeah, man. So given that, that's a lot just by itself. So now you're in high school, you're out of high school, whatever, you're moving on. How does that shape a person's world, man? That's you get out in the world, and then what?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm only now really grasping, and I'm 60, so the last few years, how the impact that it had on me was it destroyed my identity. And I think just the nature of my upbringing, I was, I'm sure my mother was taught this, and, stuff rolls downhill, right? I heard one minister say, what parents do in moderation, their children do in excess. Right. And so, this whole idea of, you worthless piece of garbage. And of course, when you're homeless, then that only reinforces your worthlessness, and then people throw you out and they don't want you. Of course, you don't maybe equate that, well, yeah, I'm doing stupid stuff, but, so it's however it happens, whether my perception or what, it's just constant, the tapes continue to run, and that's the lens through which you view your life, the way you view how people treat you and respond to you is just, you are worthless. And I think, coming to faith, I think sometimes we subconsciously are trying to, without realizing it, prove our value. Maybe, I'm not, if I can, well, when I was a pastor. So, if I can do this job well and love people well and, do what the Bible says, that may, and I don't think there was no I wasn't consciously thinking these things, but there's certainly, like when the first pastor I worked for, he told me I was a manipulator. Well, I was. I did it without thinking, so So thankfully, he loved me enough to tell me the truth. So that impacted me. But you have a lot of things. We can be driven by a lot of things that we really don't see and understand, and I think our identity is probably the most key thing. That if we don't really, know who we are in Christ, not in your head but in your heart, it's going to be a lot of trouble. Which I have had over the years. It's impacted my marriage, my parenting, my life, my health, everything.
Yeah, man. It does. It impacts everything that you think. Even if you think it's not gonna, it does. It does. That's crazy. Yeah. So then, for anybody watching who may have somebody in their family that's struggling with, like, either struggling with addiction or kind of starting to go down that road you were down, what would you like? What do you wish they understood? What do you wish that family understood that's really going on inside that person?
That's a hard one, because there's so, everybody's different and everybody's on a different path, and there's so many variables in people's lives that are causing them to go down a certain road. I think right now I'm writing a book, actually, from the law to the gospel. And I think just the power of the gospel. I think a lot of people have what I call, what God said to me. He said, this is what you have. He said, you don't have a false gospel. You have a partial and a shallow gospel. You have a get people in the door type of gospel, not an everyday gospel, and not a gospel that addresses, it's just how to get saved from the penalty of sin. But then the daily gospel is the power of sin. And, to understand that, to unpack that. And it's not like I knew nothing, but again, I think, a daily meditation on the gospel, which is the good news of who God is. I think we strive to try to figure it out and try to do the right thing and not do the wrong thing. And there's a lot of trying and striving. And oftentimes, like, we may say a prayer, but we don't really, we're not aware of all the things that we're doing that betray trust in God. It's like, I got to fix this. This is my kid. I mean, I just can't let this happen. I gotta. And, I would say, and it's hard. It's hard because, it's like you feel compelled to do something, but at the end of I'm not saying no one should do anything. What I'm saying is, without really trusting and waiting and being patient and listening, and doing the work that you have to do inside of you to get rid of those obstacles that hinder you, and may even be part of the problem. A lot of times in our family, we're telling the kid what they should or shouldn't do. Meanwhile, we're dropping baggage on them. We've been dropping baggage on them. We don't know what we're doing. We're not, so there's just so many factors. But I think if people can return, and, I looked up every verse on the Bible that says the good news of the gospel, thought about it, prayed about it. I mean, and there was a lot of insight to be had by getting past what I call a 6-verse gospel. So there's no easy answers, but that would be where I would start. Yeah.
No, it's a good start. And you're right. There's no easy answers because everything's different with every person. So I get it.
Sure.
Well, thank you for that. I feel like I want to hear more about about yourself, about how you came to know Jesus. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. But and at the same time, we're going to talk more about this.
Sure.
So you can see it in the background, and this is another bag here. So we're going to talk about what Anthony is doing tangibly to help people that have been in that trafficking world and in that life that nobody should ever have to experience. So we're going to talk more of that on the other side of the break. So don't worry, that QR code will be back, and we'll see you just in a couple minutes.
I'm a trauma survivor, and it's those experiences that motivate me to reach out to others with love and compassion, the same love and compassion that found and rescued me. That's why I started Fight Coffee, because we give 100% of the profits to fight human trafficking. After drug dealing, human trafficking is tied with the illegal arms industry, and it's the second fastest growing crime in the world. Human trafficking can happen in any community, and it targets our most vulnerable people, primarily children. We're committed to selling responsibly sourced coffee and working with businesses and anti-trafficking organizations to help them use their platforms to raise awareness and fund the fight against human trafficking. Our roasters are top-notch, and when you taste our coffee, you'll taste the difference that 100% Arabica specialty grade coffee makes. So one of my favorite things about Fight Coffee is that when you drink it, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing you're making a life-changing difference in a survivor's life. So join the fight and be part of the solution, one cup at a time.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Hey, everybody. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Anthony, thank you for being here. This is amazing. Can't wait to dive into more of the story. Wherever you're watching, if you've been here for the first segment, your mind is already blown. And for those who haven't, go back and watch it. Your mind will be blown. If you have a comment or a question and you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, throw it in the comments and we'll answer you. And then also, this is Anthony's website, and you can go there and reach out to him and communicate with him that way, and he can get back to you. And we need to talk about this. This is what I want to talk about this segment. I mean, two things, but the main thing is coffee, baby. This is what I'm talking about right here. So we got three here. There's what do we got here? Costa Rica, Rwanda, and Freedom Blend. And then this one's Brazil. So we got some good stuff here. It's yummy, by the way. I am a coffee snob. I will be the first to admit that I am a full-on coffee nerd. And I mean, I'm one of the guys that like measures the water and measures the grounds and make sure you get the right ratio between water and grounds. And just if you do it right, you don't need to add anything to it. The coffee tastes good by itself. Am I right? Right. So yeah, I'm one of those guys. So and this stuff is really, really good. So so I would highly recommend you jump on the website and check out the coffee too, and order some and talk to your church. Every church, it seems like every freaking church on the planet, or at least in the US, has a coffee shop, right? Hello. Coffee that doesn't give money to anything but anti-trafficking causes. You know, what church would not be behind that? So highly recommend you bringing a bag to your senior pastor and saying, hey, let's talk about this. So right, have you done that? Like, that's a thing, right? You've traveled around to some churches over time and like talked to them and traveled to organizations and like that kind of, is that kind of your The goal?
Well, I mean, I don't do a lot of traveling. I mean, I have spoken at some churches for sure. I had a friend who was in the ministry. He's no longer in the ministry, but he was a traveling evangelist, and he brought the coffee everywhere with him, and
Nice.
People purchased the coffee. So yes, I mean, it's we're an online store, so anybody anywhere can purchase the coffee. So we don't, we're not local. We're not your local store, but we're available easily just by couple of clicks, and it'll be shipped right to you.
And if anybody that knows good coffee, I'm not talking about Starbucks. Okay. Starbucks is a milkshake company.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say it. They're a milkshake company. They're not a coffee company. You got to add so much to it to make it taste good. If anybody that is actually a coffee drinker, like a real coffee person, knows that when you get on the website, the stuff is priced perfect. I mean, this stuff it's a great price. It's great coffee. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I'm so glad that this is I'm so glad you're tying it to such an amazing cause, because coffee is something that brings people together, and
For sure.
it's perfect. So, yeah. So just out of curiosity, I know that I didn't really plan on asking about this, but I'm really curious, because every follower of Jesus has a different story of how he found them, how you found him, how he found you, right? And how that relationship started. Can you just tell me a little bit?
Sure. I'll the super quick version. I was working at a restaurant. We got a new cook. His name was Vince, and he, it's hot in the kitchen. So I noticed, he'd have on his styrofoam cup, he'd write, I love Jesus, or Jesus loves you, or something,
Yeah.
And at that time, being in the place that I was angry. I was just dark and bitter. And I had some negative experiences with church people and Christianity primarily. And so I was, but initially I was just like, well, if he was extremely quiet, extremely introverted, one of the most introverted people I ever met. So I he's not talking to me. He's not trying to convert me. Good. Leave him alone. I go into the freezer one day, and to get a tray of cordon bleus, I ran out. You run to the freezer, you get a tray, throw it back in, restock. So I'm in there, and I'm pulling the tray out, and there's all this. The whole tray is covered with writing, and I didn't know the Bible, but I kind of figured that this was Bible verses or something. Dude's in the freezer writing Bible verses.
Nice.
That's covering the cordon bleus. Okay, this dude is freaky. This is stay away, right? So I know it was God. I was like, so there's a God, huh? There's a God, right? And so so he never, addressed me, came after me. I was the one who initiated. So there's a God, and he was a newer believer, and so he never tried to convince me of anything. All he ever did was he had a little pocket Bible. I'd ask a question. He wouldn't say anything. I was used to him not saying anything when I asked a question. Then he'd go walk away, and then 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever later, he'd come back and read a verse to me or two or whatever. And then that's it. So I had tons of questions, and all he ever did was give me Bible verses. But the thing that really spoke to me, I think, was when he showed me a picture of himself. He used to be a heroin addict. Oof. And I've seen a lot of people, homeless and so forth. Very, very rarely do you see anybody, when you look in their eyes, nobody's home. Like, this is a gone person.
Yeah.
And that was him. And I'm looking at this picture, and I'm trying to wrap my head around how you could be that far gone and come back this far. And when I used to mock him, curse him, I used to be like, Vince, I'm going to smoke some coke. Sniff some coke. I'm going to do this. I'm going to whatever. Every time I would sin, I would make sure that he would know about it in advance and be caught up with it afterwards, just to mock and just to try to get under his skin. Yeah. And without lying or exaggerating, he never replied to me in any judgmental, self-righteous, condemning, shaming, ugly way. Never, not once.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So there was that piece of it. And then when he showed me the picture, I knew something happened, something real. I don't know what it was. And I wasn't like, oh, Jesus, give me Jesus. But that started the ball rolling for me. deep in my, to genuinely want to know, is there a truth? Is there a God? Can we know it? Can we know the truth? Can we know God? Can I experience God? Of course, the answers are all yes for those of us who know that. But so that's kind of, where my journey started. And I won't get into all, there's too much to get into about, but that's what got the ball rolling.
That is so cool. I love that. It's so cool because like anything can do it. You know, like he just wrote on the cordon blues.
I'll never forget it.
That's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. Oh man. Well, you know what? We've had your website up on the screen the whole time here. Let's talk some coffee, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So as a fellow coffee nerd, I will say that all of the coffee that you sent me, thank you, by the way, amazing, is awesome. And whether you like decaf or leaded or unleaded, the stuff is absolutely incredible. So I have the Brazilian one here, the Brazilian decaf, right? And then back here is Costa Rica, Rwanda, and Freedom Blend, which I don't remember what that's a blend of, but it's really good. That's my favorite, I think. So
is it?
Yeah, I think the Freedom Blend is my favorite because that's a medium. Yeah, medium. I don't know, man. Dark roasts are good, but I'm kind of a light medium roast guy. So I love, like, these are really good dark roasts though. There's been some that some of them, man, they'll put hair on your chest. Some of those, I know.
Yeah.
So, but these are good. So tell me, like, why coffee, and where does this stuff come from? How are you doing it? Like, how do people get some? All the things.
Okay, so why coffee? Years ago, this is decades ago, I had the idea that I would at one day, I've always loved coffee. Okay, I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But once I ever had a latte, I'm the opposite of you. Once I had a latte with some cream and sugar in it, that was it. I was like, it's like, the Three Stooges or whatever, it's a harmony. It's the three. It's not the Trinity. Okay, let's not get crazy.
Let's not go there. Come on.
They work together magically to me and my palate. So anyway, and I always loved serving it. I wanted to have a cafe, and the idea was that wouldn't it be great to have a communal space where we who are believers could open the doors to the community. And I know, because of where I come from and my attitude towards church and Christianity, I would never have gone to a church, but like, hey, come to a cafe, let's meet, let's talk, let's do good. Let's take the profits and serve the people in need in our community. So that was the initial idea. So when I learned about human trafficking, I didn't have the money to do a brick and mortar. I didn't have the money to even do a coffee cart. But so I did have enough money. Well, I didn't even have money to do that. I would say some miraculous extra money came in to help me get the business started. So the idea was, if I go online, I can reach the entire United States instead of just the local, my local community. So everybody has access to the coffee, and then also can contribute to this fight. And then so that was the idea. Let's give 100% of the profit to fight human trafficking. And initially, you might be surprised, your viewers might be surprised, but I thought that if I reached out to the church and I reached out to anti-trafficking organizations, that would be the way I would grow the business. However, overwhelmingly, I think that a lot of churches, for whatever the variety of reasons are, it's no, not interested. And then anti-trafficking organizations, because I'm a newer business, or I'm not new anymore, but I'm still smaller business. Yeah. I don't have tons of money to just drop on them. So they're busy, they're overwhelmed. They have so now do they have to add trying to sell the coffee to their support base? I thought it would be easy, just send an email or your monthly newsletter or some, put it on Instagram or what, just, put it, keep it out there, but not killing yourself with the work. But, but a lot of them many of them are closing their doors. They're understaffed. I know one woman, last time I talked to her, she said she worked an 80-hour week. And she's a survivor. And then people say they want to help you, and then they can come in and then actually make matters worse. So, I mean, there's just so many things that, I think on that, in that space where we haven't been able to get traction. So my new strategy, because you got to pivot in order to survive. Right. My pivot is to offer to nonprofit organizations. I'm working with one specifically now in Iowa, Gabby in the upper room. And the goal is to help provide job skills. So because Abby's in Iowa, which is central to the United States, it would be great for her to be able to ship into 3 time zones. I'm in the East Coast, so the Central, Mid, and West, those 3 time zones, because it costs me more money to ship out there. So if she can ship it, they make money from the shipping. They make money from also that I would have already donated. So that's double. But then they're also getting the job skills. So even if they don't make a ton of money, they're still learning all the skills that you can learn from order fulfillment. They can go into the community. So there's a lot of work, build a relationship in the community, bringing a mobile cafe out there, which as I do, I have a table and I have a setup. And so I could show them and work with them and help them to establish that. If they want to try to get into supermarkets, local stores, cafes, they can do that. So there's a lot of job skill opportunity, not to mention what they can do on their website, what they can also do through social media. So just tons of opportunity that I think that I don't really know how many other opportunities that they could have that would give them that type of diversity within one thing. And it enables them to do it on their time frame. So like, I don't have to send one girl who's interested in bookkeeping or, and then work with this schedule and that schedule. And, right. You can learn bookkeeping through it too. So, I mean, there's so many things, it's basically like having your own small business, right?
Yeah.
So much. So that, that really is the idea. And I hope that if we can get this up and running with Gabby and then establish a model, then that we can then duplicate that elsewhere. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with that.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I just thought of something from earlier in the segment. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus that likes the frou-frou stuff, that doesn't like black coffee. I'm not saying that. I can froth and mix and flavor with the best of them, Right. I love caramel. I'm a caramel junkie.
So am I.
Love caramel.
Yeah.
I could put it on just about anything and it would taste good, right? So I am not, I'm just one of those nerds that, coffee is kind of like wine in one respect, that depending on the ground it was grown in, depending on the season, depending on what else has happened in the environment during that year, it can taste even the same. Like the Freedom Blend could taste totally different in 2022 versus 2025, because of the ground and the, same thing with wine, the grapes and the different thing going on environmentally. That's why I like drinking it black, because you get the flavors in there.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. Caramel is one of my best friends. So I'm totally with you. I don't want to get any hate mail from people that live and die by the frou-frou drinks at Starbucks. So don't worry. I'm not, they'll be fine. Don't worry. But no, that's awesome though. I love that, because it's not just about you. It's not just about the coffee. It's about what it can do for other people, for other communities. And so that's why this needs to grow, man. That's why this needs to grow. And that's why we're here. So, so we're going to go to one more break, and then we'll come back and kind of finish up here. But stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'll put that QR code back up there again, so you can order some of this amazing coffee and try it and see what you're missing, because it's good. So, all right, everybody, stick around. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you very shortly.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
I'm a trauma survivor, and it's those experiences that motivate me to reach out to others with love and compassion, the same love and compassion that found and rescued me. That's why I started Fight Coffee, because we give 100% of the profits to fight human trafficking. After drug dealing, human trafficking is tied with the illegal arms industry, and it's the second fastest growing crime in the world. Human trafficking can happen in any community, and it targets our most vulnerable people, primarily children. We're committed to selling responsibly sourced coffee and working with businesses and anti-trafficking organizations to help them use their platforms to raise awareness and fund the fight against human trafficking. Our roasters are top-notch, and when you taste our coffee, you'll taste the difference that 100% Arabica specialty grade coffee makes. So one of my favorite things about Fight Coffee is that when you drink it, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing you're making a life-changing difference in a survivor's life. So join the fight and be part of the solution, one cup at a time.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Minna.
We're the hosts of Chronically Healthy Life.
Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Vitality TV to see how we flip the idea of chronic on its head and create chronic health in our bodies, minds, finances, and relationships, right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And time flies when you're having fun, and we're almost done already. We have about 10 more minutes, so let's make the most of them. That's the website. There's the QR code. Scan it, get you some coffee. Got 3 varieties here. Got Costa Rica, Rwanda, and Freedom Blend, and then we've got the Brazilian decaf here. And there's more than that on the website. This is just the 4 bags that Anthony was generous to send me, so because he knows I'm a coffee nerd too. So there's more on the website than those 4. But
those are the 4.
Was that the 4? I thought I saw a couple more on there that I don't have.
Well, there's like a 5-pound bag, but
okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, 5 pounds. Well, there's for the coffee shop right there. That's you sell it in bulk to those. Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right. So for those of you out there, or I should address this to Anthony, if for those out there that feel like they're past, maybe like, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've been hooked on this, I've done that, this thing happened in my childhood. I can't make a difference. I can't do this. What would you tell them?
I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but that's just a lie. I mean, if we surrender ourselves to the one who made us, he can also heal us, restore us, and back to this whole thing of identity. The only reason we say that type of stuff is because we believe the lies about who we are.
Yeah.
The more God shows you who you truly are, not who you think you are, not people, what they tell you or what you tell yourself, the enemy, whomever, wherever these messages are coming from, as we not in our head, but when it gets into our heart, and that's a process, and that takes time, and there's depth even when it touches the heart, right? Then there's depth within that. But the more that impacts you, the more it's not about you anyway. I mean, what am I? Who am I? Like, I'm great. I'm not great. I'm not killing it. You know what I'm saying? I've been out here. I've been pounding the pavement. I've gotten so many no's. You can't even, like, like when I started this company, I wrongly assumed that it would be a no-brainer. Oh, I can drink coffee and fight human trafficking. I'll switch. How easy is that? Like, I mean,
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not, this thing hasn't taken off or whatever. We're barely hanging in there. But, so it's not about me. It's not about anyone. It's about, who God is and what he wants to do through you and in his timing. And whether this takes off or not, my value, my worth, no one's value and worth is based upon what you do or don't do, have or haven't done, how high you climb the ladder. Yeah. As any loving, because I had abandonment from my father and abuse from my mother, but I've seen loving parents. And I know that, just because one of your kids goes off into the NFL and is killing it, and your other kid's working at Arby's, you love them both. They're both your kids and you love them both the same.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll always be your kids, and you'll be proud to, and you want them at the same table and Thanksgiving and the holidays. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I love you. You are mine. And that's when he makes us his own. That's what he did. And we don't do that. So yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what I would say.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. It's true, man. For those of you with children out there, I mean, we've got 3 kids, and yeah, it's not like I look at one and go, okay, well, you're my favorite. Don't tell anybody.
Right.
You love all your, whether they're in the NBA, NFL, or behind the counter at a business or whatever. Who cares? They're your children, man.
Exactly.
That's how it works. So yeah, it's true. Well, so if we got about 5 minutes left, so
okay.
If you could sum up in 5 minutes, if our audience could take one practical step today, watching this show, and they're like, I want to do something. If they could take one practical step today to join the fight against human trafficking, what is that? I
mean, it's super simple. Just drink a different coffee. I mean, literally, there's people doing, and I'm not against any of these things, people doing marathons, and they're doing this and they're doing that. Time, effort, people are busy, people are struggling, people are burdened, people are sick, people have 4 or 5 kids, people, life is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think different than a donation, right? Because our budgets are, they are what they are. You can only donate so much, right?
Right.
Coffee, it's not about making a donation. I mean, it is in a sense, but you are buying coffee. So you know what I'm saying? All you're doing is switching, you're redirecting funds you're already spending over here. And, I don't want to name any names. I'd get sued, but a lot of people have no idea that the coffee industry is rife with exploitation. If people are drinking coffee that's not responsibly sourced, they are drinking slave labor coffee. Now, every bean in the bag may not, because what happens is, some plantations, they are slave labor, some are not. Then they all go to a processing plant and they all get mixed in. So so it's not 100%, always 100%. But what I'm saying is, if it's not responsibly sourced, fair trade, whatever, then not, we don't know what we're doing, but we are literally funding businesses that are profiting from human trafficking. Yeah. It could be fair trade and still be from traffic. So it's fair true. Trade isn't necessarily. That's why I build relationships with roasters who build relationships with their importers, with the farmers. That's the goal, so that we know where this coffee is coming from. That's the ideal. So it's simply drink coffee and tell a friend. We all like you're drinking the coffee, you enjoy it. You're telling all your friends on this platform, but you go to work, you go to church, you go, it's easy. I have, social media. I have on the YouTube channel. That's probably the easiest. On my YouTube channel, there's a video about Marco, a 9-year-old kid from Guatemala he's labor trafficked picking beans. You can hear out of his own mouth. Of course, it's translated because he's speaking in Spanish.
Sure.
But hear out of his own mouth and see, hey, this is where do I want my money to go to support giving this kid $5 a day, vomiting because of the chemicals in the field, working 14 hours, not going to school? Is that the type of business I want to support, or do I want to do the opposite, support a business that's actually giving money to survivors and to help fight this fight? So it's super easy. That's what I love about Fight Coffee. It's super easy.
Yeah, it is. And I want to say one thing though, in the midst of that is, you don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus here. We're not trying to make you feel bad for
No, of
drinking
course.
something that might have been sourced, from something like that. But I didn't know.
I
had
didn't know
no
either.
idea until you told me that this is going on, and now I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I'm thinking about it. So I think that's the main thing is we just want this is a message to get to you, everybody out there, that just think about it. There is a better way. And so that's what we're just trying to get out there is that there is a better way. And Fight
Yes.
Coffee is a way to do that. So, because I didn't know, you didn't even know that, right?
No.
We were talking before.
I didn't know it until after I started a couple years into starting the business. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Right? So, I mean, it's true. I know it's a silly saying, but you don't know what you don't know, truly.
Right. No,
So,
for sure.
But now that you know, you can do different. You can do better. And you can buy coffee from a roaster that does not use traffic labor.
Yeah.
Bonus.
And
right?
I would add that not to get into it, but the decaf, I have one of the last videos I posted is about our decaf coffee. It's 0.03% caffeine. And a lot of people who are older, who can't drink coffee because of heart issues, stomach issues. I continue to hear stories about people who had to stop drinking coffee and who are now drinking coffee again. And they're drinking our decaf, and because it's
Right.
not chemically processed, which you can taste, that's why a lot of people don't like it because of the chemicals that they use to get the caffeine out. We
Yeah.
use naturally water processed, so it is my favorite tasting coffee. It tastes good. You can't tell it's decaf. No one knows when I serve it to them because I only drink decaf because of my stomach issues. So anyway, that's just a little plus about the decaf. Yeah. Or you want to drink it later at night. You're like, now, because I'm older, I can't drink past, regular coffee. I couldn't drink it past lunchtime. Now I can have it in the evening for dinner. If I want to have a nice latte, I can do that and not stay up all night. So that's the other benefit of 0.03% versus average caffeine in decaf is 3%. So just a little something there.
Well, because I've always
for your nerds out there, you included.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I love that because you're right. There is something, especially in Colorado, man. I mean, you're in Maine, right? So it gets cold, man.
Yes.
At night, in the wintertime, you want something hot to drink. So this is perfect. That's awesome. I love it. So, well, thank you, man. Anthony, this has been a blast. I'm so glad that we got to do this. Thank you.
Thank you
so much for what you do and for agreeing to come on here and tell your story and spread the message about what you're doing. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Stick around. Let's chat afterwards.
All right.
But yeah, thank you very much. All right, everybody. That's not going to work. You can't see anything now. We'll scan the QR code quick because I'm taking it down. There it goes. That's okay. You can go back and watch the episode again and scan the QR code if you missed your shot to get some coffee. So, thank you so much for being here, everybody. This is so cool. I love this platform for this type of thing. It's so cool. You just don't know what you don't know until you do. And now you can do something different. So thank you, Anthony. This has been awesome. Like, follow, subscribe, share, all the things. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, get it out there, man. If this is your first episode, welcome. We're so glad you're here. If you've been watching since the beginning, in April of 2023, when this show launched, thank you. Bring your friends. Keep them coming. It's amazing to see all of you every time watching. And join us for our next show, which will be Tuesday, September 2nd. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.